All right, good afternoon. Thanks for taking the time to catch up with Bison football. Obviously, we're extremely excited to be preparing and to be in another winter camp here at in North Dakota State. We're preparing for an outstanding opponent. A lot of respect for Coach Vegan and his program. Obviously, they're the number one ranked team in the country and undefeated. Quickly, just looking back on last week, I thought last week's game and performance. Not only was it great to win the game, but to be part of such a well played, well coached football game with guys that played so hard was really an honor to be part of. Currently, we're preparing right now for practice number 5 today. Our work has been very enthusiastic. I think our kids are showing up not only to practice but to meetings, treatment, nutrition, weight room stuff with the right intent, and looking forward to the preparation the rest of the way, but I'm really encouraged by how we've done our work so far. With that being said, I look forward to answering any questions.
Corey Hogue, go ahead, get us started.
Coach, thank you so much and congratulations on making it to the national title game. I have a two-part question here. I noticed you have 4 players who played with Texas high school football. I'm with Dave Campbell's Texas football. If I didn't mention that, I do apologize. I noticed you have 4 players who played Texas high school football. How important has it been for you to recruit Texas, and how much has being in this national championship game so often allowed you to kind of recruit some of these players from Texas?
Yeah, I would answer the question by saying this. With the frequency that we've been down there, and we've been fortunate going all the way back to 2011, as our brand continued to grow nationally, we felt like starting in Frisco, in the Frisco area, Dallas, was very important for us in the recognizability and trying to get in there and to start to cultivate some back and forth knowledge. Us gaining knowledge on high school football in Texas, them gaining knowledge on how we operate and how we run our football program would be critical. And I think Texas is a big part of it. When Craig Bohl was here back in 2003, 4, 5, 6, I know early on a lot of the staff members had experience in Houston. Coach Bohl recruited Texas quite often in his travels, whether it was Nebraska or at Rice. And so, I think the whole country would love to take advantage of the great high school football played in Texas. Right now, we focus primarily on Frisco, and then we kind of work our way out from there. And we try to keep it pretty tight so that our reputation is known. We want to be known in those areas, and we want to know the area very well. And we've been very fortunate to come across some really good players.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Jeff Kolpak, go ahead.
Yeah, Jeff Kolpak of the Forum in Fargo. Tim, describe the season that Ryan Jones has had and his play of late, and what happened there. What's the difference?
Yeah, I felt it's interesting because you get into fall camp and sometimes maybe the mundane catches up with, just the repetitions and team periods. I thought Ryan was off to a good start in fall camp, was carving out, not only opportunity on special teams, but with the defense as we occurred some injuries and things there. And then, Ryan would probably tell you he didn't play his best football, but the thing you appreciate about it is Ryan's just continued to improve. He's continued to become more and more confident, especially coming up and supporting the run. And I know you guys made comments after the game. I had no idea that he had played that type of game. When I went back and watched the TV copy against South Dakota State, in the semifinals, that second play of the game, Ryan is 2 yards deep in the backfield making that play, and just so impressed with his ability to stick to it, really impressed with how good of a student he is academically, and then just continuing to compete and improve. He's gotten better and better, Jeff.
What's going to be like going against an old cohort like Brent Vegan?
I think it's, I texted him the other night. I just said, Brent, this is pretty cool. I don't know if it'll get to like an emotional spot for us, but we have gotten tighter and tighter over the years. I think it's really cool for Coach Bohl and his tree and the legacy of it. And just watching the Montana State team play, there's still some of those old defensive, keys and characteristics are there and how they play defense with the 4 down front. And then offensively, I think it's really cool to see Brent just free up his offensive coordinator to just continue to be aggressive, calling quarterback runs, really dynamic run game, obviously. And, all the shot plays that come off of it. But pretty neat. I mean, pretty cool. Brent and Molly are good friends of ours. Obviously we purchased their house when we moved to Wyoming, and so there's some history there. I'm looking forward to it. I really am.
Finally, well, you just kind of alluded to it with you and your wife and your family. Has it been different this year as being the head coach and being on this ride as compared to assistant?
Yeah, I think so. I think I knew there would be more time allocation, away from watching practice tape and focused on scheme and plays and those kind of things. And so that's probably pulled a little bit of time away from her. But overall, us being back in North Dakota and her home state, a lot of friends and family, just more regional here than it was at Wyoming. That's been a blessing. I just love to compete, and I love watching our coaches coach. I love watching the players compete and improve, and being able to step back, and get a 20,000-foot view at practice instead of being right up in there with a position group actually has been real enjoyable, and I hope to continue to improve.
Okay, thank you.
Devin Fry.
Kevin Fry with Valley News Live here in Fargo. Coach, the first thing a lot of people are going to think of with this game is the quarterback matchup, Millett versus Miller. When you have two Walter Payton finalists going head-to-head here, just how exciting is that to see these two really good quarterbacks be able to go head-to-head with this much on the line?
Yeah, good question. We're on day 5, right? So we're pretty deep into the preparation. And I want to do everything I can so that it doesn't come down to one or two guys, right? It's about 3 units going out there. But, man, with their kicker, I don't know if you'll have an opportunity to get a kick return. With their punter, I don't know how many opportunities you're going to have in the punt return game. And so maybe that gets negated, right? And then it does come down to which quarterback not only plays really well, but in big moments, in impactful situations, the gold zone, and on third downs, whoever performs the best there and gives their team an opportunity to stay on the field is going to have the best chance to win this game. I can really only speak on Cam and what I've seen of Tommy. I think Cam is practicing really well, and I think he's going to play great.
And it goes beyond just Tommy too with this Montana State offense. Coach Olsen kind of talks about defending them like a triple option type offense. Where does the most pressure go on your guys' defensive side?
I think on the run pass conflicts, not RPOs. They have some of that stuff, but it's the pause player. Maybe the linebackers. The boundary safety, the safeties. I mean, all these guys that we ask to support the run, not only versus running backs and potentially even receivers, you have to account for the quarterback. And so it's the run-pass conflict and the concepts that they deploy in the run game with the complementary play actions. Sometimes it gets to be even a little bit gadget type plays, the pops and the hits. I mean, just the run-pass conflict, they do an unbelievable job. I mean, it all starts with the run game. It all starts with Tommy. I mean, they've rushed for 300 yards per game. Tommy's well over 3,500 yards total. And so I think what we have to do is try to cultivate as many opportunities to square him up as possible, and tackle and be physical and make him work and grind during the game. But then we have to be very conscientious of these pop plays, these wheels, and all the conflict they kind of create with their quarterback run game.
Thanks, Coach.
Craig Haley.
Yes, thank you. Coach, appreciate your time. Sorry about that. When you step back into the NDSU program, you're kind of stepping into a situation where this is where you want to be every year, that kind of pressure. How is that different at NDSU, and how do you embrace that kind of championship or bust mentality?
Well, I think ultimately it really does help you navigate through communicating to young players. Hey, here is the standard. This is the expectation of not only the community, but the BFPA, right, the Bison Football Players Association. The former players have laid down such an unbelievable standard here, going all the way back to '65. It's not just about the Division I era. But I think when you have that kind of history and there's that kind of pride, and we call it Bison pride, we can get that instilled into the younger guys maybe faster than a program that doesn't have that kind of history. That's beneficial. Okay, now can we practice in fall camp and practice during a week of preparation, knowing that we're going to get our opponent's best shot every week, and take that intensity level to the spot that it needs to be to captivate all the goals that we have, that's another question, right? We got to work at that daily. And so much of it for us is embracing the standard. We have a saying around here, bring on the competition, but it also is playing to the standard. When we play to the standard, typically that's gone pretty good for us, and then you got to tip your hat if you ever do come up short. For me, myself, I'm an extremely competitive guy. I think our staff is competitive. Recruiting competitive people into the program, not only players, but the equipment staff, the supporting role, the supporting cast. Having a great deal of pride is a big part of our program, and I wouldn't want it any other way. Our administration has provided the opportunity, facilities-wise, with support. Our Green and Gold Collective is doing a good job to keep us competitive, and therefore, we got to go out and lace them up every day and go to work, and we embrace it more than pressure is a privilege, and it's about eliminating anxiety, just like this game will be, and that all comes down to preparation.
Coach, considering your friendship with Coach Vigan, what do you give him a hard time about? Anything in particular?
Oh, probably some of the old 3-on-3 basketball games that we used to have. I think Brent was Mr. Basketball in the state of North Dakota. And he's got a great jump shot, but we weren't moving around as well as we used to probably. I got so much respect for him. I'm kind of struggling to find the things that we'd pick at each other about. He's a guy that every year at the convention we're going to meet up, have an hour, 2 hour, 3 hour conversation. Really enjoy his family. Good to see his sons grow up and become monsters like he is as far as height and weight. Has been really special. Obviously the relationship changes when you're going to play because you're not sharing ideas and thoughts. But over the years, even going back to the years I was at Iowa, we shared a lot of time together in cultivating concept and program philosophy, and he's meant a lot to me. He taught me a lot in the years of 2010 and 11 and 12 when he was the coordinator here.
Thank you, Coach.
Aaron Walling.
Coach, obviously your team's getting ready for this January, big game for you guys, but what can you say about the growth that you've seen from your roster from fall camp to where they're at right now?
Yeah, really paying a lot of attention right now, not only to the preparation for Montana State. I'm not trying to push that to the side, but really watching our two O-line right now. There's been some really good development. There's been some real moments of growth where a kid, maybe 2 weeks ago didn't handle a twist game as good as he did yesterday, and to see those guys continue to improve, I think it would be outstanding. We've missed Cole Payton, right? It'd be outstanding to have him out there with us, but Nathan has really capitalized on all the repetitions he's getting, and you're seeing him grow each and every day. And then I think the whole back end, the corners and the safeties, you're seeing development. And I want to say this too. I'll give credit to our scout D line. We don't have 12 guys down there right now. We have about 6, 7 guys, and they're taking a crazy amount of reps, and they're being tough as heck, and they're representing what it looks like to be a Bison. And so you take great joy in that, and that's a critical part of this whole national championship run is what we call as winter camp. And we've asked all those young guys to be very conscious of moving forward before we get into winter conditioning and then spring ball. I mean, if they're going to push up into the depth on the team, they got to capitalize on this now, and I think we are seeing some good growth.
Coach, it's no secret you love offensive line play. What's it like being able to watch, NDSU strengths and Montana State's strengths on the O-line?
Yeah, it's good, right? I mean, they got 2 All-Americans. I think we have 2 All-Americans. We've got a center that's really coming on and playing better and better. I think the same for those guys. I think they have 4 guys that had honors, with all conference and so forth. And both teams, I mean, that's what I would say. Al Johnson is a friend, and he's doing a heck of a job coaching the O-line there. But the DNA of their program, the things that are important and the things that matter to us, I really believe Brent's doing those things as well at a high level. It's his program now, and you're seeing the development of offensive line. You're seeing the development of D-line, linebackers. So they're obviously practicing very physical like we do, and it's fun to watch. There's good offensive linemen. I'll tell you this, in the semifinals and this game, wow, why are those 4 teams there? I think the line of scrimmage says a lot about how both teams play in this matchup, and then the 2 previous, the South Dakota teams play good up front as well.
All right, and Coach, final question I have for you is, you've had players step up, that have taken on larger roles, especially during the playoffs. Players like Pontius. How important is it that these guys have really bought into, hey, when it's your time to step up, they deliver for you guys.
Yeah, you talk a lot about that, and ironically, right, you look back on the season, I mean, we're missing a lot of really good, important pieces, and they're so important for us when they're out there, right, supporting the guys, coaching the guys, still providing leadership. But we've had many, many, many guys that have had to step up this year, and all of a sudden role players are starters. Starters, become superstars, well-known names. I just think it's evidence that if you stick to it at a place and you trust coaching and you show up and you're coachable and you buy into your teammates, that is success. That's a great college experience. And we have a lot of guys that are doing that right now. Hunter's just a really good example. And ironically, he's replacing Jake Rock, whose story isn't that much different. And so that's kind of been the Bison way, as far as I understand it. Next man up mentality. It's what is important for the team. We, us, and our. If you embrace that it's cool to be part of this community and part of the Bison culture and the Bison history, good things are going to happen for you.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Eric Peterson.
Hey, Coach, just describe the year that Eli Mostert has had on the D-line and just kind of what his value overall has been to your defense.
Yeah, I would sum it up probably real consistently explosive, right? He's found a moment or two in every game to be in the backfield for a big TFL or a sack. I think his leadership and I think his demeanor has gotten better and better, too. What I mean by that is he's finding ways to channel all that great energy. Instead of fighting or arguing, he's now leading and leading by example and coaching up the young guys. I think he's been tremendous. It's been really fun getting to know Eli. Me and him have worked on a couple different projects in the summer with some of his internship stuff. There's a man that's going to be really successful, and I think he's going to make a good run at the NFL. But when that's over, there's going to be a lot of success for that kid, just based on how he shows up and does the work. It was really cool to hear him talk about Coach Gazer and their relationship. And the appreciation that he has for everybody in the program.
Thank you.
Coulter Nuanez.
Hey, Coulter Nuanez from Skyline Sports. Congratulations on the success this year, Coach. First of all, I wanted to follow up about Cam Miller, just a guy that has stayed this whole time and been such a great player all along, but having such an awesome senior year. How has he reached this level as one of the best quarterbacks in all of college football?
Yeah, obviously he's got good training. Randy Hedberg is, obviously his resume, the people that he's helped become the best they can become is pretty impressive, especially for a FCS school. I'd put it up there against others that are at the higher levels. He's taken advantage of that. The one thing I hope Cam says is that he embraced any change. All right, and then he let us know what doesn't fit his eye, what he doesn't want to play through, or the concepts that maybe he doesn't like as much as us coaches. And oh, by the way, that's the most important thing. The quarterback's got to like to play the concept. And I kind of learned that the hard way over the last 3 or 4 years. But I think he embraced any nuance that we wanted to bring to the forefront. And then that maybe has opened up his mind and seeing some things differently. I think we've done a really good job with our full field progressions, building progressions for him. And he's just continued to improve playing through progression football and understanding football. And then I must say that his command over protections has, as far as I'm concerned, he's owned it with what we're trying to do. And that allows you to play quarterback if you can get yourself protected and understand hots and, blitzers that are free. He really has a good understanding of that. And then I love his consistent leadership, and that's allowed him to continue to be a player that improves. I don't think he probably one time has had a disruption in practice where he flips out or he gets frustrated. He just is really steady Eddie, and he's a consistent worker. That's probably the thing that has allowed him to improve all these years.
And then on the other side, you mentioned all the trickery and all the things that Montana State does in the run game, but just the pure speed of the quarterback, how much of a weapon do you think that is? How much does it sort of enhance what they do offensively?
Well, I think his ability to one-cut slashing type runner with that speed and size, right? Like this is, I don't know why my mind's going to Air Force, but, you got to tackle this guy. You got to, some of the guys that we've seen in the past, Tim Tebow and things like that. Tommy's a really good football player, but the combination of the size and the speed, and when I say size, I know he's not a huge guy, but he's strong, right? And he's built well. He kind of reminds me of Jordan Lynch, and I was around him in 2013, and Jordan finished third for the Heisman, and he was just a tough out. And I think all the +1 run game, I think the schemes that they do deploy, creates opportunity for Tommy to be in space and to be in one-on-ones, and he's an athlete, and it can be a matchup issue. We got to keep him boxed up as much as we can.
Bryce Lance seems like he's really come on lately for you guys. What has allowed him to reach this next level that he's playing at right now?
Well, I think he's a gifted young man with size and speed. I remember seeing him, I think, when he was really young, when I went and watched Trey Lance throw as a sophomore. And, okay, this guy's going to have a similar frame and those kind of things. Like a lot of our guys, just the consistent approach, being open to being coached, hard, being open to improving, kind of hanging in there, waiting, for your opportunities to come, and then be ready when those opportunities do come, right? We talk about that. Like in our program, we want everybody to capitalize when they get their opportunity and never to look back. Bryce continues to work really hard. Obviously, in the past, he must have been working pretty hard to improve, and then all of a sudden he gets his shot. He's just capitalized on the opportunities, quite frankly. And he'll continue to get bigger and stronger and faster as well.
Last one for me. Usually with freshman running backs, getting them to the end is the hardest part, right? Because they have to go through so many different just adjustments to the D1 game. How have you gotten Jamar Brown to this point, and what do you think of the fact that there's two great freshman running backs on either side in this football game?
Well, I think that's probably one position, as we get into this day and age of the portal and so forth and so on, running backs can contribute. I think the further away from the line of scrimmage you play, you got a shot as a freshman. But we call him Marty. Marty works extremely hard. He runs hard every day. He shows up with a smile on his face. And Barika and TK have really helped him to show him how to practice, and that's probably what's allowed him to continue to grow and develop late in the season.
We got about 5 more minutes here. Greg Rochik, you're up next.
Yeah, hi Tim, Greg Rockhatch from Montana Sports. Just curious how much you're personally looking forward to this opportunity. I think you're the 4th NDSU coach to, bring the team to this stage. So, how cool is this for you?
You do everything you can as a leader to not make it about yourself or things that you want to get accomplished individually. And that's not coach speak. This game will be about the players. It's an honor to be part of it with them and to help them reach their full potential. For me, it's interesting. Because our players prepare and practice so hard and they care about each other so much, I have not been nervous or anxious for a game yet. I'm hoping that'll be the case this week. For me, it's just another opportunity to be down there with a great group of guys, another senior group of guys, another good Bison football team, and to do everything I can to help them and position them to win the game. We're always looking as a staff, to position our players so that it's a players' game and that they get the most out of it. Obviously, as a head coach and for our staff, it's something that, we want to be part of and we want to be down there. It means a lot.
Thank you.
Stephen Hawkins.
Coach Stephen Hawkins with the AP in Texas. You mentioned a minute ago, we were talking about the quarterbacks, but what does it say in this day and age to have two veteran quarterbacks who have been through a lot and have probably had some opportunities maybe to go other places that are still here and playing for a championship?
Well, obviously they went to the places that have strong culture, good communities. They must have, surrounded themselves around really good teammates that they love and they care for, because we all know what opportunities are out there for players, for coaches, and it's hard to dig in and to believe in the big picture. I think what I hope comes out of this is everybody watching this game, that's going to be a really good football game. They see two guys that are leaders of their clubs that have had the opportunity to reach their full potential, now have mastered a system. And wherever they end up, whether it's the Arena League or the UFL or the NFL, they're going to have a foundation that they can fall back on that's solid, that others that bounced around will not have and will struggle to learn NFL protections, will struggle to understand NFL run game. Okay, so I encourage every young person out there, stay where you're at, dig in, and reach your full potential and believe in the people around you. Okay, master a system.
We'll start with Eric Peterson for questions for Eli.
Hey, Eli, last time you played in Frisco, you kind of were the first game back off an injury. What's it like to be, going in now under different circumstances, healthy all year and kind of ready to go for this game?
I'm really excited to get after it, to be at pretty much 100%. And my final year here at NDSU is going to be really fun to compete at the highest level with my brothers and go down there and have a fun time.
What does it mean to get back after last time you guys were there? You weren't, you didn't win the game. Now you have in your final year another chance to add another championship.
It feels great. It's been one of our big goals this year to make it back to Frisco and to make it my senior year with my guys, the fifth-year guys, sixth-year guys, and do it for each other. Has been a fun journey throughout the year, and it's going to be fun to get down there and prepare with the team down in Frisco.
And finally, what impresses you most about the Montana State offense, and maybe specifically quarterback Tommy Malott?
Yeah, he's probably one of the most dynamic quarterbacks in the nation. He's a great athlete. I've played him twice now, so I kind of know what he's all about. But he's been progressing as a player, and he's been performing really well. He's been getting that team moving this year, and they've been playing really well as a whole squad in general. And yeah, we've been preparing really well for them this week, and yeah, we got a week left to get ready, and we're going to be ready.
Thank you.
Devin Fry.
Eli, you kind of see these guys a lot in the postseason. It's rare to play a team this many times. I think it's like 5 times since 2018. Kind of what do you think that adds to this game, and just kind of, especially with how you guys have been the ones to end their season each of those times? Just kind of what do you think that brings into this matchup?
Yeah, we've played them a lot since I've been here, but we go at every team like every other week. It's nothing changes for us. It's just the same preparation, same mindset every week is to go 1-0. And yeah, they have a really good squad like they've always had. Very physical, very tight unit, and yeah, we're gonna hopefully get after them on Monday.
And beyond just Tommy, it really dynamic offense. Coach Olson kind of talked about defending them like a triple option team. How much pressure does that add to you guys up front, and just kind of, do you just have to be more head on a swivel? Do you have to be able to move more laterally? You can't just pin your ears back as much. How does this kind of change how you guys have to game plan for this one?
Yeah, they don't throw the ball a whole ton, but everybody knows their fits, knows their roles on the certain calls, certain defense that we're going to be in, and everybody knows who they're going to have on every play, and we're going to go about it like we do every single week, and the D-line's going to take care of the run, and then the linebackers and secondary take care of the quarterback on the given plays. But yeah, we're going to be ready. They have a really sound running team, really good running backs, great quarterback, so it's going to be a really nice contest for us. Not contest, but test for us, and we're ready.
Thank you.
Colter Nuanez.
Yeah, hey Eli, Colter Nuanez from Skyline Sports. Thanks for taking a minute. First of all, your impressions of Montana State's offensive line, specifically, especially the interior guys. I know a couple of those guys, All-Americans like yourself, so just your thoughts on that matchup.
Yeah, they're a very physical, well-knit group, and they play really well together. They knock guys off the ball. They've been doing it all season. They play angry at most times, and they're going to be a nice test for our D-line, but we're really excited to get after them, and yeah, it's going to be a great test for us, but we're excited to get down there.
As an old lineman myself, fun to see the Final Four, and if you were to rank the best offensive lines and defensive lines in the country, it's the Final Four teams. So as an interior defensive lineman yourself, how much pride does that give you that it really is at this level all about the guys up front?
No, it's been really fun to be able to perform at the level our defensive line has performed over this playoff run and playing some of the better teams in the nation. And yeah, it's really fun to see us go against the best O-lines and prove that we can get it done against those best guys. But yeah, we have another good outfit in front of us with Montana State, and they're probably pretty close to the top in O-lines in the nation, so it's going to be fun.
The way Cam Miller has led you guys, but also the way that he's grown into being, quite honestly, one of the best quarterbacks in all of college football right now. How would you describe that, and what has it meant to this year team and the success you guys have had?
Yeah, he's been a great leader, a great friend of mine, and he's been growing as a player since he's been here. And it's been really cool to see him develop into the Walter Payton player of the year that I think he should win. But he's been playing his butt off all year. He loves this team, loves this program, and he's playing at the top level right now when we're going to need him most in this final game.
And last one for me, what sort of impact do you think Tim Polasek has had just taking over as the head coach in his first year and leading you guys all the way to the national championship game?
Yeah, he's been doing a great job. He brings a lot of juice, a lot of energy to the squad, and even when it's down, when it seems like it's quiet and boring, he brings that little oomph you need. And he's been really fun to have as a coach, and it's been a little different compared to Entz because I never had a coach with this much energy like Polasek. So it's been really fun this year, and yeah, hopefully we can get it done for him in the end because he bleeds green and gold, and he loves this place just as much as we do.
Victor Flores.
Hi, Eli. Just curious what kind of are the biggest differences you've seen between the 21 Bobcats and the one you faced last year, and then even what you've seen so far of this team?
I guess the biggest difference is just Tommy's progression throughout his career. He was very young in 21, and he got banged up that first game, and he's been performing really well the past couple years. And they always have a really stout O-line, good skill players, good running backs, everything like that. But I think the biggest difference has been Tommy, the quarterback, getting this to hold the reins by himself finally, instead of switching between quarterbacks the last couple years. And yeah, he's been playing really well, and we're excited to get after it.
Obviously, a lot of similar guys on the offensive line for them this year that were there last year. A couple changes, but what kind of did you remember most, or what have you seen most from last year and watching film this year about their scheme, and any players specifically that really have stood out for you?
Yeah, the scheme's changed a little bit from last year. They had a lot more gap scheme last year and running a lot of zone this year, but overall, they're I'd say one of their better linemen, Marcus Ware, is back. He's been playing really well. He's a physical dude. And then the left tackle, Moore, I think is his last name, he's been playing really well this year too. But it's not a huge difference than last year. They had a really physical O-line last year, and they played really well together, and I think they're doing it again this year.
Thank you.
Time for one more here with Stephen Hawkins.
Hey, Coulter asked a question I was going to ask you about Cam, but I want to ask you the idea of two quarterbacks, two veteran guys on each side that are coming back, that are stuck with it. What does that say about FCS level and the desire of guys to keep going and keep playing with so much else changing in college football?
I think it says a lot. Both of them probably could have left and played Power 5 FBS football somewhere, but it tells how much they care about their program and their university and trying to do this with the guys they came in with, and it says a lot about their character and their poise and them wanting to compete at the highest level with the guys that they came in with. So it's been fun to see Cam and Tommy stay at their programs and compete as two of the top quarterbacks.
Last question. Obviously, FCS last year in Frisco for a while, 15 straight years. Fargo to Frisco has been quite a thing, 10 of the 15 years here. What does it mean to you guys knowing what you're going to see? I know you get support everywhere, but knowing they'll make that trek from Fargo to Frisco once again.
Yep, this is my fourth time going down there, and it's hopefully going to be one of the best ones. Our fans travel the best out of anybody in the nation, and they're always with us, making it loud, and they're going to make that city green and gold when it comes down to Frisco on Monday. They're going to have a fun time, and we're going to do that with them. We're going to get after it, have a fun time down there with our team and our brothers, and this senior class is hopefully going to get it done and have a fun time down there.
We got quarterback Cam Miller here. We'll go straight into questions. Stephen Hawkins, if you'd like to start.
Hey, Cam. Good. Stephen Hawkins with the AP in Texas. You might have heard me ask Coach this question, but what does it say about having a game like this with you and Tommy both having been there for a long time and stayed, and here you are playing for another championship?
Yeah, I think it speaks to both of our characters. I have a lot of respect for Tommy and the way that he handles himself and the way that he performs on the field. And I think it just, in my opinion, speaks to the programs that we both play at. And I think both of us represent the program very well. And I think just the young guys, like the young quarterbacks for both programs, see that two talented quarterbacks decided to stay and didn't go and play, at a different school. I think means a lot to those guys, being a positive example for them. And I think people across the country will see that two of the top quarterbacks in FCS decided to stay at their program and have been successful, and that you can get whatever you want from the program you're at.
I finally had a chance last night to watch the semifinal game, and I know Bryce has had a great year, and that catch for the winning touchdown was unbelievable. But when's he going to be known as Bryce Lance and not Trace's little brother?
I think now, honestly, I think the way that he's played this year, he's no longer, Trey's little brother. And I think he's made a name for himself just by the way that he plays and the way that he carries himself. He's been tremendous for us, the entire season. And I expect him to be great on, next Monday.
Last question I got for you. Fargo to Frisco has been quite a thing for the last 15 years. Throughout these 15 years, it's been in this. What does it mean for you guys knowing the kind of support you're going to have? I know you have it everywhere, but just knowing that people are going to make that trek from Fargo to Frisco.
I think it's rare. And we have one of the best fan bases in the country. And just to see them traveling down to Frisco every time that we play there. And I know the guys in the locker room really appreciate that. And we understand that there's a lot on the line to get to Frisco, and it's a tough road to get there. And I know it just means a lot to the fans that we get to Frisco every year, and we have the expectation to get there every year. And I know it makes our fans happy, and they enjoy traveling down there.
All right, thanks, Lane.
Don Izzo.
Cam, I know I asked you last week about how your career is intersected with South Dakota State. Montana State is there as well. I mean, I knew you were a sophomore in the championship game, the game last year. Just describe how Montana State is weaved through your career as well.
Yeah, playing them twice, they're always a physical outfit, very similar to us. And watching them on film, they look really, really good. And we're going to have our hands full, offense and defense and special teams. But having played them twice, you know what to expect from them. And we're going to have to do everything we can to slow them down on offense, and we're going to have to stay on the field against them. It's very similar to South Dakota State, where turnovers are a huge factor in the game, and time of possession, all those key little things are going to be huge in the game.
What do you remember about that Montana State game in Frisco 3 years? It seems like forever ago. Now it's almost 4 years ago. What do you remember about that?
I just remember offensively, we were really stout up front. I think there was something I had seen a few days ago that every single offensive lineman on that team made an NFL roster. So when you have that, you can run the ball effectively, and that's what we did. I know watching the game, the last time I watched it was probably a year or two ago, but I just remember the grass down there was kind of slick, and their defensive linemen couldn't get their feet in the ground, and we were getting double teams up to the linebackers, and that's what helped us run the ball effectively against them. At the time, I was considered a game manager, and I really wasn't expected to, or I wasn't, told to do anything spectacular other than stay on the field on third down, don't force the football, and just play within yourself. And I think my role from then has kind of evolved into being a playmaker and trying to do everything I can to help our team win.
Last one, the game last year in Bozeman, it seems like Montana State has played angry since then. Just the way that game played out, can you just reflect on it now, or how remarkable that ending was?
It was unbelievable. And but I didn't think that watching the film this week from that game that we played very well on offense, especially early on in the game. I think we had maybe the first 3 drives were 3 and outs. We couldn't stay on the field, and that provides a lot of stress to our defense, especially against an offense like them. We have to capitalize on staying on the field, and that's what I remember most about that. And then just some big plays down the stretch where we got some sacks. We had a really big drive there when it was 28-21 to put it into overtime. I know we had a few big runs, a few big passes, and I think that helped us have some momentum going into overtime where we ended up winning it.
Thanks, bud.
Devin Fry.
Cam, obviously a real emotional win for you guys in the semifinals. What have you seen from this group kind of moving on? Obviously a national championship being on the horizon probably helps with that a little bit, but what have you seen from this group as you get ready for this trip to Texas?
What I've seen from the group is a group that's not satisfied with getting to the national championship. Like you said, there was a lot of emotions in the semifinal game, and we enjoyed that for 2 or 3 days, and then it was, okay, what's next? And the stage is set, and we know what we're about to get from a very talented outfit. And I think we've had our best 3 or 4 practices of the year so far. I think it's been physical. Guys have been flying around. They've been locked into details, and we need to continue that for the next week if we're going to have a chance.
Do these games, when you're getting ready to go up against another really good quarterback on the other team, do these games feel any different for you in that preparation aspect, even just mentally, when there's, the other Walter Payton Award finalist on the other roster? Does the game just start to feel a little bit more big to you, or how do you kind of keep that level?
I try to prepare the same for every game, and I have full faith in our defense that no matter the quarterback, it could be Tom Brady, but I know that our defense is fundamentally sound, and they're going to do a really good job, and they've seen really good quarterbacks. I know Tommy Mellott is a great quarterback, but I think the preparation and the guys that we've seen throughout the year are going to help them against Tommy, having played against Shedeur Sanders, Mark Gronowski, and the Abilene Christian quarterback. We've played against really good quarterbacks, and I think that's going to prepare them well.
Thanks, Cam.
Victor Flores.
Hey, Cam. I was wondering what the biggest differences you've seen between the 2021 Bobcats and the one you faced last year in Bozeman.
That's a good question. I think offensively, and now I don't watch a lot of Montana State offense. I'm more focused on their defense, but I do think Tommy is more dynamic now than he was then. I think the running backs are probably better, and I think they've gotten better every year since 2021. Now they've had some injuries throughout the years that have kind of hindered them making a run into the playoffs, but they always have a really good defense with good linebackers, good D-line, and their secondary is good as well. But like I said, I think they've improved from 21 to then 23 last year and then up until now.
And defensively on their personnel side, who stands out most? What are some 1 or 2 players that you really have been impressed with on their defensive unit?
I think both of their DNs are really, really good, number 11 and number 41. I think it helps that we have 2 All-American tackles that'll be matched up on them. But those 2 really pop when you're watching tape. And I also think that both their safeties are very good. They like to bring, number 26 into the run fit, and he makes a lot of plays for them. And number 2 is good in coverage as well. And I think their DBs do a really good job, too, in man coverage. I think those are really the players that have, in my opinion, really stood out on tape.
Thanks, Cam.
Time for a couple more here. Greg Rochick, you'll be up next.
Yeah, thanks, Cam. So what can you say in terms of having experience in this game, not just experience, but winning experience in this game from the past? How can that help you in this one, do you think?
I think having been there, this will be my 3rd time playing there. I think knowing what the noise is going to be like, the atmosphere, everything, having been in pressure, situations, I think really gives me a lot of confidence going into this game. And then I think just relying on the guys in the locker room who have also played in this game, I think gives everyone confidence. I think probably 4 or 5 guys on our defense played in the game in 22 against South Dakota State. We have multiple guys on offense who played in that game as well. I think just having that experience really, I think, carries over into this game next Monday.
Thanks.
Coulter Nuanez.
Hey Cam, Coulter Nuanez from Skyline Sports. Thanks for taking a minute. Just two for me. Marty Brown getting to this point in the season and just the endurance he's shown, the toughness he's shown. What is it taking for him to be here, and how impressive is that for a first-year guy at a physical position like running back?
Super impressive, and now he has a lot of help with our offensive line, and he's just, like you said, just been super tough to be a freshman and to carry the ball 10 to 15 times a game. And I think what impresses me the most about him is he doesn't shy away from contact, even late in the game when, he's taking some shots. And last week, he's struggled through a little bit of an injury and he's back now, but just a super tough kid, and he's a great guy to have in the locker room and a great guy to play next to.
A lot of talk about the standard at North Dakota State over the years, even before your time, and I know Coach Polasek really talked about that this year as well. In his first year as the head coach, how has he sort of defined or redefined that standard for you guys?
I think he's made it clear what the standard is, and he preaches it throughout the week, no matter who we're playing. And I think what's impressed me the most about him is he's a motivator, and how much he cares, and guys really rally behind that. And he's never going to ask any of the players to do something that he's not willing to do. And I just really appreciate the way that he approaches every day and the way he attacks practices, workouts, and I'm just happy to be a part of the team.
And real last one, the sort of finality of this situation, like this is your last college football game no matter what happens. Has that set in for you? And if so, how much does that sort of motivates, maybe the wrong word, but just enjoying this moment and sort of relishing in this being your last hurrah? What's that mean to you?
I think you hit it spot on, just trying to enjoy this moment. And having gone home for a few days for Christmas, you kind of reflect on the season and knowing that no matter what, this is the last one. I think my mentality going into this one is having fun. Last time playing with the guys, the stage is set. It's going to be a great atmosphere, and the last time wearing the green and gold is going to be special for everyone. And like I said, I'm just going to have fun and really just enjoy being out there with my teammates and cutting it loose.